Hey everybody, it's F-Bomb Fitzgerald, and ever since I started my channel, I like to kick off the year with a showcase of all of my loadouts, basically showing off what I'm wearing, where my strange counts are at, and any other things that I think are notable. Let's check it out. Okay, well, to keep things simple, let's go in the order that the classes appear on the selection screen. Scout is my least changed class, both in terms of the cosmetics I wear as well as the weapons that I favor. In the primary slot, I almost only ever use my Miami Element Professional Scattergun, both because it's the best primary for Scout, but also Miami Element is my favorite warpaint in the entire game. For secondaries, it's almost always either this Brain Candy Professional Pistol, because I love this skin and it's very consistent damage, but sometimes I'll run the Pretty Boys Pocket Pistol if I want a little bit more survivability. I do really like this Spectrum Splattered skin, and this one's got green fire horns, so cosmetically this is the one that I like the most. In terms of cosmetics, the 2 Fortnite combined with the Antarctic eyewear with Dark Doorway, that's kind of my signature look for Scout as well as Engineer, combined with these purple spooky sleeves with an ungodly number of points for damage dealt and assists. I also picked up a couple of unusual taunts with the Dark Twilight effect because it matches perfectly with the Dark Doorway, literally the same moon and sparkles. The most obvious change to my soldier loadout from past years is I sold my Scorching Flames meme captain that I had for 9 months. I made almost 400 keys profit on it, so I turned some of those profits into this Sunbeams Mercs Mohawk. Sunbeams is a Gen 1 effect, it's always been one of my favorites, and I think it looks really good with the Mohawk, especially painted the same color as my Cuban Bristle Crisis. It's got kind of an Old Testament god with a cigar look, which is why I run it on my heavy as well as my soldier. As for weapons, the biggest change is I picked up this strange Miami Element rocket launcher. It's my favorite skin in the game and pretty hard to find in strange. I actually made an entire video on it, I'll link it in the description. I was also pretty excited to pick up this electro-shocked black box for pretty cheap. I transferred my kills over to it. The yellow on it, especially on red team, just fits really nicely with the yellow of the sunbeams. The last weapon I want to highlight is this field-tested Miami Element Airstrike. Sadly, it's not strange, but I mostly use it in MVM, so kind of not a big deal. This is my main Pyro loadout going into the new year. I was especially excited to pick up a strange apparitions aspect with projectiles reflected. I always wanted a Pyro Mist with that part on it. I also love how the transparency on the apparitions aspect shows unusual effects through it. So when I had the meme captain, that looked pretty good, but I think the sunbeams looks even better. You can see the sunbeams going through Pyro's head. For that reason, I repainted the hot case with Gentleman's Business Pants. That redoes the collar. I just feel like this color goes a lot better with sunbeams, as well as the eyes of the apparitions aspect itself. In terms of weapons, I picked up a Man Melter with Teammates Extinguished, which really motivated me to give this weapon a second look. In terms of melees, my most used and best looking one is this Miami Element Power Jack. I made an entire video on it, so I'll link that in the description. I also still favor this strange rainbow flamethrower. It's an elite grade from the Pyroland collection. I just love the pastel gradients on it and the fact that the sparkle patterns that also appear on the skin are generated with a different random seed from the paint itself. I always thought that was a really unique feature for a war paint. The other Pyro loadout I'll sometimes run is when I want to be a Pybro, and I'll run this one. The Degreaser's got projectiles reflected and teammates extinguished, which are perfect Pybro parts. I also just got this to Hale's Own this year finally. The Scorch Shot's great for destroying sticky bombs as well as doing a little bit more long range spy checking. Plus this one's got fire horns on it, and I've always loved the uranium skin. And in the melee slot, I actually picked up a strange Homewrecker finally this year, mostly because it had some pretty cool strange parts. I also have to say I love how the yellow discs on the eyes of the apparitions aspect fit perfectly in the spine twisting skull. Cosmetically, my Demo Man hasn't changed much. The Dark Doorway and Circling Heart combination is kind of my signature look. It's in my channel intro and outro, so I don't see that changing anytime soon. In terms of weapons, I was excited to finally crack 30,000 kills on my sticky bomb launcher. It's my most used weapon for Demo Man, and it's my second highest strange count on any of my weapons. I also finally put a professional kit on my sticky bomb launcher. Obviously, I kept the hot rod sheen. I went with Hypno Beam for the eye effect. I just figured it was about time. My biggest splurge purchase of the year has to go to this strange professional Ullapool caber with the damage dealt part on it. Is it a good weapon? No. Was it super expensive for mostly just being a meme weapon? Absolutely. Do I laugh incredibly hard anytime I kill somebody with it? Hell to the yes. My heavy loadout is pretty similar to my soldier loadout cosmetically in that I've got the Sunbeams Mohawk, the strange Cuban Bristle Crisis, and sometimes I'll run the Giftbringer, but most of the time I run this Commissar's coat that cracked 11,000 kills this year. I've always loved how the Mohawk looks on Heavy. I know it was originally modeled just for Heavy and NG, and I think they both have jiggle bones on it, and the other classes do not. In terms of weapons, the big milestone was I cracked 40,000 kills on my minigun, and also 4 million points of damage, both pretty insane. Another plus of getting the Sunbeams Mohawk is this minigun has daffodil fire horns, which looks amazing with sunbeams. My NG cosmetic set is identical to my Scouts. The dark doorway on the 2 Fort Knight is my YouTube avatar, so that's never changing. I did half consider getting an unusual pencil pusher to get a double effect, but I do love these spooky sleeves, especially with how high the counts are on them. If I'm playing Ninjaneer, I love this set because these two are great offensive weapons, and all three have different pro KS effects as well as sheens. If I'm playing traditional NG, 95% of the time I'll run my Jag. I just cracked 12,000 kills on it this year. It has pumpkin bombs and one of my favorite pro KS combos, so I love it, and I just really don't see any reason to run anything else. I did pick up this strange pro elite grade rescue ranger. I feel like the Misfortunate skin is really underrated. This purple is a really nice color, especially with my dark doorway effect. I like the green sheen, how it complements the green highlights on the gun, especially these green dots on the barrel itself. When I sold the Scorching Mean Captain, I immediately knew I wanted another green unusual effect to pair with my Haunted Ghost Gauze Gaze. I was really excited to get the Haunted Kraken Wizard hat because it's such a unique looking effect, and I love how the tentacles trail and interact with the haunted ghosts. When I bought it, it was painted black, and it actually clipped pretty badly with my white gauzed gaze, so the simple solution was just to paint the gauze gaze black, and now they fit seamlessly. In the third slot, I've got this green derangement garment, which finally cracked 2 million points of allied healing, which is pretty cool. I also just like how the green fits the color scheme of the Kraken and the Ghosts, as well as my stock Medi gun, which has the Spectrum Splattered, also green. I also finally added a professional killstreak kit to my Crusader's crossbow this year. Considering I run this 95% of the time on Medic, it's always nice that I can show eyes if I get a good streak going. I'll tend to run this set if I'm trying to win a round, but if I'm just playing for fun, I really enjoy this set, which has pro KS kits on all of them with different effects and sheens. Also have allied healing on both of these guys. But despite the fact that I love Frozen Aurora and it has a pro kit and allied healing, I barely use this thing just because the Ubersaw is so much better. Oh, and if you were wondering what Sunbeams looks like with Haunted Ghosts, it actually is not a bad combo. My final change was I upgraded my Results Are In Unusual Taunt from Aurelian Seal to Eldritch Rift. I love how much more this pops with the sparkles and the moon, even if the pink doesn't really go with my green color scheme on Medic. Sniper continues to be my least played class, so I probably put the least amount of thought into the cosmetics I run on him. That said, I do like this Dune Fremen look I've got going. The Dread Riding Hood was a Christmas present from my friend Twisted almost exactly a year ago. I just love how it pairs with these purple spookticles. The reason they have so many points was I used to run these as my main all-class misc. And in the third slot, I like the Down Tundra coat, mostly because I've got headshot kills on it, which is always going to be nice to have on a sniper body misc. Even though I barely ever play Sniper, I somehow managed to get to 10,000 soaks on my Girardi this year, which is definitely a strange milestone. I had a bit of a spy renaissance this past year, which was really fun. I mostly credit that to getting the strange pro big earner in the Secret Santa last year. It's by far the most fun knife to run, and I got 3,000 kills on it in just 1 year. I also crossed 7,000 building saps on my sapper, which is pretty nuts. It would be cool to get this up to 8,500, even though it's already technically capped out in terms of ranks. On the cosmetic side, I was really excited to pick up a pumpkin moon hat. I've always been a huge fan of this effect. It's way bigger than the traditional moons, plus I like this pink cloud that kind of hovers over your head. I also like how the pink of it complements my pink lady killer, which is getting really close to 50,000 points. I also picked up this handsome devil, mostly because I like the parts on it, but also I thought the pink complemented the lady killer, as well as the pink god tier unusual effect as well. And that's all of my loadouts. Thank you so much for watching and checking out my channel. Special thanks to everybody who subscribed, because I really appreciate the support. I hope your year is off to a great start, and I hope to see you all in the next one.
É o fim do caminho, resto de toco sozinho, é caco de vira, é a vida, eu sou.